CU graduates are definitely a different breed.
The feeling I get of Covenant people is that they have a lot of resilience.
There's something in that school. If not just make them talk and make we know.
There is no magic about the happenings at Covenant University other than the fact that it is vision-based.
The vision came to him and no one else.
We are raising a new generation of leaders.
So ask us whether there's any achievement of Covenant University, go and ask the graduates.
You can't forget your foundation. You can never forget it.
The people were the best part of CU. There was just this level of excellence, both within the school and, among the students, and there was just something about it.
If you even hire a Covenant person, you see that they want to do something that you will know that they were here.
I can mention organizations for you and banks that just say if you're Covenant, you start at interview level, because they believe that the level of work, the system you're coming from, the level of work that's been put into you, you can't go through that place and not be innovative, inventive, creative.
So when we started InterSwitch, we began to think about talents. We wanted people who were a bit more advanced in their thinking. We wanted people who obviously took schoolwork seriously. So when they say they have a 2-1, you need 2-1. Reputation for keeping exams, that kind of thing. So we started leaning towards Covenant. Okay.
I went hiring from a company. So for me, it's very, very interesting because in Blue Chip, I'm hiring. And then in Voltron Capital, I'm investing in startups and founders. One of the best decisions I've ever made is I'm investing in some set of CU graduates, being their first investor. I ended up becoming the team that is building PiggyVest today. So I guess CU has been kind to me in producing such graduates, and that's been one of my biggest bets to date in terms of return. And then obviously in Blue Chip, I'm also hiring a lot of graduates, a lot of computer science graduates and engineers. So CU is really top on my list in terms of hiring and backing founders from CU.
There's usually a challenge in the employment world. There's a gap of, they're actually jobs, but they are not employable people. But that has never been the case of encountering a Covenant University graduate. When the job meets a Covenant University graduate, the rest is history.
It was easy to get into the room if you were from Covenant University. That's what I'll say. It was a good foot in the door. It was a good foot in the door for a start. And the reputation grew very quickly in the terms of the quality of graduates that the school was getting. So when that was on your CV as a school that you went to in Nigeria, beyond it worked in the same way maybe people that receive training abroad, and even better in some cases.
Eagles generally represent a very creative and smart bunch, really. Some of the phenomenal people, the most phenomenal people who've had in Softcom have always been Eagles as well. Should it be something that is encouraged? I think absolutely. I think one of the most interesting off-topic questions we always get, whether it was in a boardroom or in an engagement, is what did they feed you guys in Covenant? What did they give you guys? What did they put into your head and all that?
I was telling someone one day that I need to find out what's really happening there, right? I understand there's some entrepreneurial course that CU graduates go through, or there's this community and this will to build, right? That they all have.
CU graduates are definitely a different breed, very different breed. And I can understand why. Our training was also quite different. Where it was a boot camp, whether we would like it or not, it was a boot camp. It was a leadership boot camp.
If you call somebody a king and queen for 4 years of their life every day, they will grow up to begin to feel like they're a king and a queen. And what do king and queens do? They solve problems. They take leadership positions.
Whether we are conscious of it or unconscious of it, we've been told that we are world changers. We've been told that you are trailblazers, pathfinders, those things you heard, kings and queens for many years. Those things ultimately have shaped us.
For me, what Covenant University did is it actually did imbibe core values in me that I'm enjoying now as a professional.
Everything is structured. So the way you attend classes, the way you prepare for exams, the way you have schedules, the university was very structured. And so I think that forced a lot of people to be structured, in itself.
when I was serving in the bank, I remember someone called me up and she said, "You're from Covenant University, right?" I said, "Yes, man, that's, why would you think so?" He said, "Well, the way you dress, some people have come to do IT here, some people have served, some people are there. You always see how they dress first, and then there's a way they carry themselves."
One guy actually looked at me and, why am I behaving like an A-list comedian? And I was auditioning with them for Stand Up Nigeria. So there was that feel of, oh, you went to Covenant, no wonder now. You just know that there's a finesse that you have that comes with the turf. That's the Covenant University turf.
We had an interview for HR and event manager role. And there were two CU people and the rest other. I could tell the difference in terms of dressing. I knew the ones that were CU, I knew the ones that were from other university.
The feeling I get of Covenant people is that they have a lot of resilience. And so they can stay on a matter and get it sorted out, okay? These days, what you find with a lot of young people is that the discipline to stay on a matter is not there. They give up easily. And they blame every other person for why something has gone wrong.
CU people are deeper. Amongst good people, when you see the CU people, they will stand out.
I remember my first experience in a work environment. I had a good boss who recognized talent, but at the same time, I think he picked out certain traits which was common to CU students, that discipline, right, and professionalism that we sort of brought to the fore. And I think it was also exemplified in our dressing. We were always smartly dressed, and that I think spoke out for us, right?
My partners are Covenant University students or graduates. Our core values in our company, basically, they are things that we learned from Covenant University, right? So it's easier to instill or to instill these core values in people that have gone through something similar.
I'm proud every single day when I hear great testimonies about, amazing entrepreneurs and CU students who are doing big stuff.
Our description, our explanation are our products, and our products are our graduates. So ask us whether there's any achievement of Covenant University, go and ask the graduates.
The diverse accolades, the awards. For instance, we produce the most employable graduates in Nigeria. We have won that 1, 2, 3 times. By His grace, the glory of the past that made companies and corporations go to campuses to recruit students upon graduation came back to Covenant University.
I think I can say there's something about the DNA of Covenant.
My most impactful personal accomplishment is that I've been able to set up an education trust fund where I currently have like 5 kids ranging from primary to university that I'm able to send to school.
I see myself as a tailor for royalty. I've made close to a couple of presidents, home and other parts of the world. I've made close with kings.
Even though I'm a real estate professional, I help people invest safely, securely in real estate. I've invested over billions, many billions of naira for people.
I was featured on CNN in 2017. This was really pivotal. We've also gotten several awards like Tour Operator of the Year at the Pine Hospitality Awards. I've gotten recognized as top 30 women in hospitality in Nigeria. I've gotten the Eloy Awards as a woman who inspires in tourism.
I was appointed to serve as Director of Fiscal Plan and Development for the university and the Living Faith Church worldwide.
This is a comedy tour, UK, Manchester and London to be precise. And in London, I performed at the Wembley Arena with over about 12,000 people.
I was nominated one of the top 25 immigrants in Canada.
To have had a dream and run a business and made some profit to the point where we can now even turn to society to use our own resources to do good, I think is such a blessing, really.
The vision of Covenant University will be fulfilled in the alumni. We just spent 4 years in the campus, 4 to 5 years or 6 years, depending on what you study on campus. But you've spent, like me, I've spent more than 12 years now out of Covenant University. So the fulfillment of that vision is in what happens outside. And it's not about what we do as individuals. It's actually what we do together as a community.
Hope Foundation, started in 2011.
the alumni played a huge role. Alumni knew that for this thing to kick off, we needed hands on deck. Yeah, and it would take some dedicated, committed efforts. So Femi Taiwo came in as the director.
We've had the opportunity of, reaching over 7,000 young people.
Majorly, what I do is that I do pastoring. So I pastor a church. The name of the church is called Eden Center. And I think my work over the years has earned me a global recognition that got me on Forbes Coaches Council globally.
One of the things I'm very proud of actually is being valedictorian for my class at INSEAD. We had over 70 nationalities, very diverse group. Of course, as an African, I was a minority. But at the end of the class, and it wasn't just academic, right? I was elected actually by my classmates as the valedictorian for that class.
Working with David Oyolowo was really just God. Okay, so I made the soundtrack to David Oyolowo's movie, The Waterman.
I'm also really proud that despite the fact that I have a Nigerian passport, I've been able to demonstrate that you can see the world.
How many countries I've been to? I'd say around 40.
And I became the executive director of NIP Africa. In the last 6 years, I've had the opportunity of designing programs that have touched thousands of lives across the continent and creating projects and programs that have reached young people in more than 34 African countries.
From the Oak Antique Foundation, and in the space of a little over 12 months, we've been able to complete, I think, 3 schools
and
2 hospitals across Lagos. The whole idea is to seek out underfunded, undersupported hospitals and schools and help improve the infrastructure so that they can deliver their services at least more credibly and more excellently.
There's something about Covenant University. I'm not hyping anything. I'm a grown man. I know they fear anybody. I can say whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying this because of anything. There's something in that school. I'm telling you, if not jazz, made them talk and make we know. I'm telling you, the training, something in that school.
I remember May 1998. For the first time, God gave me the awareness of the university's plan for this commission. While I went asking God for what He wanted us to use this property for, we had 580 acres, and He sectioned them out to 3. One He called Ibeh, the place for the making of kings. One He called Shiloh, the place of my appearance, where the faith tabernacle is. The other one He called Moriah. It came live to me for the first time that God has a plan for the university.
As someone who was privileged to be at the very, very beginning when God servant, the Chancellor of Covenant University, was about to declare his vision about the founding of Covenant University. That was precisely 28th of January, the year 2000.
The name Covenant given to the university is very significant, as the Chancellor, the visionary of the university received it. The Covenant has no room for stagnation.
He convened a meeting of some selected academicians and some top members of the ministry, top management, shed light upon some insights that he got from historical trend about the awakening, spiritual awakening that nations experience, in the Christian faith, that has culminated to socio-economical developments, which also eventually laid the bedrock foundation for technological advancement.
Initially, there were thoughts of starting from a temporary site until God led His servant, and by due consultation, to go straight and start off right at the campus where it is right now.
I always love to have a marching order. Every vision for appointed time. So he stepped in and gave a marching order after we received the certificate, and I said, Jesus, if it's not you, tell me, I will tear this paper. It's not my ambition, it's not my plan, it's not my... And I heard them say, it is I. February 12, 2000.
For now, right from Covenant University gate towards where the university is now, there was a very thick forest. We used to send persons to come in and pick grapes. I remember that from here. But right under our nose, we saw it transform.
By his hand. The speed is unimaginable. In 7 months, it was done. Both with his resources. No stress, no strain, no borrowing, no banking overdraft, no banking aid. He completed it.
Covenant University is out to promote the relevance of higher university education within the continent of Africa. By 21st of October, the year 2002, the groundbreaking ceremony, took place. It was a very wonderful day. We danced, and praised God around the main street to the roundabout at the center of the campus, and then back again to the entrance. So as we arrived at the entrance, that was when he got that inspiration.
And he said, now hand it over to me. I said, how no? He said, lay down flat before me. Now the pioneer students were standing, their parents were standing. And then the servant was to lay down before his presence. No question. I lay down.
And as I got to the gate, I saw this man laying on the floor and praying. And that was the first time I actually ever saw Papa in my whole life. He was laying on the floor at the gate of Covenant, and he gave Covenant back to God.
And he took it home. No stress on the running to show that he took it. No strain. No running helter-skelter, no prayers, no fasting to make it run. We just kept it running.
Where we are today as a university, let's just say it is God. And if it is God, definitely it shouldn't surprise anyone.
The changes that have been seen so far is that of progressive forward movement, increases on every side. As usually quoted by the Chancellor, Dr. David Oyedepo, we've never had a better yesterday.
I have been most privileged to have composed the Covenant University anthem. Yes. I was in the office that wonderful day several years ago when Professor Famous Zedomi and with his partner, another professor, walked into the office the evening of that day, cool of the day. And that was about a week to the, the first matriculation of the school. I said, Pastor Kenny, we need an assistance here. We have a challenge. The Chancellor said, an anthem must be prepared. And by the grace of God, the Holy Ghost helped me, of course, knowing fully well the mandate that also brought us up and the requirements in terms of the vision, the expectation of the Chancellor about the institution. So I got into writing some things down and then putting the music. And then I actually did both contemporary and the classical, and then defended it before the Senate. The classical was chosen.
We're a covenant generation,
pursuing excellence,
redeemed to reign, learning to lead.
We are bound by an oath,
obeying rules to rules,
making kings of his
flying high on covenant wings.
Wisdom calls for change,
inspired on fire,
with courage marching on in grace, God's own arrow.
Shot for glory, covenant generation.
I actually did contemporary. We're a covenant generation, pursuing excellence, learning to live, rule, learning to read. We are bound by an oath, obeying rules to rule, flying high on covenant wings. Wisdom calls for change, inspired on fire, with courage marching on with grace. God's own arrow, wisdom calls for change, inspired on fire, with courage marching on in grace. God's own arrow, shot for glory.
I think everybody's story is probably the same. Our parents came and said, you know what? No ASU strike for you. You have to go to a private university. The day you're entering, you know the day you're coming out.
My mom was the major player in that because she didn't want me to stay an extra year. I stayed 1 year at home.
My dad literally he didn't even ask me where I wanted to go. He just literally processed everything and sent me to Covenant University.
It was literally a last minute call for me.
My parents lived in Kenaland. My mom was a founding staff of Covenant University, Professor Isaac Obayo.
My parents attended Living Faith Church, so we're actually, part of the prayer and preparation, for the founding of the university. So that's how I heard.
A cousin of mine was in the first set. So when I was looking for where to go from his matriculation, I think my parents decided that they've seen the call of God on my life for Covenant University.
One thing led to another thing. We had the entrance examination at Rajioba.
My mom's friend, Mrs. Omoyola, had her daughter in Covenant University, and this was like a different space from my cousin who was in Ife.
We did all, I passed everything, and yes, it became a reality.
I wrote the CUSATs and I got in.
What I really fell in love with at Covenant was Papa. It wasn't for me any like physical thing. The very first gathering we had was the first day in school. I remember very vividly. I even remember what I was wearing. And after the first 30 minutes, I knew that I wanted to get everything that was in his mind while I was in that school.
I remember like it was yesterday. I remember the smell, the feeling.
Going to my floor, settling down, going downstairs to get something, coming upstairs.
I don't even know how to explain it. It was both mixed emotions. We weren't sure what was going on, but we were all just excited to be there and everything. And you could see the chancellor, like in a place with some set of guys, like making sure that everything was done. He had all his security and everything, welcoming the first set of, students there. After a while, he left, but he was back again, just making sure that, everything was done.
For me, it was a mixture of emotions, hopes and dreams, a level of doubt and uncertainty, but just really knowing in my spirit that this was where God wanted me to be.
I just loved everything that I could see at Covenant University at that time.
You get to school and in less than a month, another building is up. So we literally saw all those buildings, springing up, and for me, it made me realize that there's nothing that cannot be achieved.
Every typical CU grad, knows that, light and internet, no matter the complaint that we complain on campus, is a major infrastructure that keeps, life moving.
Once you step into the Covenant University, either as a student or a lecturer or an observer, you can tell there is something unique.
There were no dirts on the floor, there was no noise, everyone was quiet, it was safe.
I think the way everybody kind of dressed and walked was also a shock because, Lagos does not really have walkways, right? So people just walk where cars are not moving. They not get to see you, and then cars move here. This is the walkway. Yeah, it can almost even be an offense not to be on the walkway. So that form of precision in orderliness was kind of weird.
All of the things, the excellence I saw here was really
amazing and, compared to where I was coming from, particularly the university I attended.
Immediately I stepped foot on that ground, on that campus, there was some sense of seriousness which I didn't get from where I was coming from.
At the beginning, it was fairly rough in the sense that quite a number of students that came in, we had this assumption that this is a Christian university, and so people who are applying, majority should be students. Should be Christians, But we observed that quite a number of them were Christians on paper. A war against indiscipline was declared, and we actually sacrificed a lot of our time to ensure that what God's servants saw is what we were pursuing.
I think we were mostly like the lab rats. Man, anything that just felt like it was leading us out of the vision of the chancellor, they just disbanded.
The first few, I'd say maybe weeks, months into resuming there were very, very friendly, right? Until there were some small bits of, youthful exuberance that sort of cut off some of those benefits we had.
For me, let's say I was kind of indifferent. I kind of went by the rules, but things were changing. At first we were allowed to use phones and something would happen and then you're not allowed to do this anymore.
In my own opinion, said to myself, maybe they didn't want us to just get consumed by the things, the happenings at the time, things happening outside of the school walls.
As a father, right? So for every time he makes those pronouncements, he just does not want us to get into trouble, and he just does not want us to lose control. At the same time, he also does not want to lose control of the brand and the school he was trying to build. And look at us today.
We didn't want them to be distracted. We wanted them to be focused because we were trying to make a statement of a change.
A lot of culture shock. First, the dressing. Actually, the day I went to write my entrance exam, CUSAT, I wore a pair of jeans. And my sister was she wore a pair of jeans, armless top, And then we got there, we saw everybody in their suit and tie, and we're like, what's going on here?
You couldn't negotiate the outfits regardless of the weather condition. And I wish, they could allow us come to class with smart casual.
The secondary school I went to, I had to wear a tie every day, so the tie aspect was not a big deal for me.
My go-to outfit is a denim pants and t-shirts. That's how I like to roll. When they banned jeans, it was like reality check. What?
I was in chapel the day Papa banned jeans.
Oddly, I just bought the jeans 2 days before, and I had plans to rock my jeans at night. Night was a cool time where you just come out, you chill. Constructions were going on in campus. Everything was super rowdy. There were so many laborers wearing crazy jeans. Students are also wearing Tata jeans. And you're supposed to be kings and queens.
The passion to entrench the royal mentality, demanded the need for, ensuring that they appear royally on campus.
I understand why, Bishop would always say, I know what I saw, and when I see what I saw, I will know, but this is not what I saw. Because there's a certain just doggedness you need. I understand it better now, because now that culture was being shaped then, it's still being shaped, but it took a while for it to become a way of life for us.
The system is not like others because it is branded from heaven, and that brand is managed well by the chancellor who received it and well communicated to the operators. In virtually everything we do, different, unique, peculiar.
This is a refinery, right? Being in the refinery is not always nice, you getting the pain, the stress, but it's changing you from what is like the expected version of what the young person should be to making you very refined, reformed, it's changing your mindset. So it's like going through a system that would shake you. By the time you come out, you're gold.
The control of myself and my business and my environment and my home is even worse than Covenant University. Because everything has to be regulated. Everything has to be under control. If not, I will lose everything and I will be on the street.
So we're coming here to learn and get a BSc. What were you trying to make us a total man? Why were you trying to tell me that I needed to be mindful? Why were you trying to tell me that I needed to be spiritual, responsible? Why are you telling me? I just need to come out with a BSc. But the idea and the vision for him is to mold you into a perfect person.
Even we, at the time, we didn't really know that a lot of people repelled it and said, which kind of thing is this? How can we not? Other schools are doing, kind of thing. But it was the best thing that ever happened. I'm telling you.
There was this course, EDS. When it was EDS time, one of the courses I took, public speaking. And that course on public speaking was very interesting.
One thing that has made me to be where I am today is entrepreneurial development studies, EDS. So important. The fact that we got to learn so many things, like there were public speaking classes, soap making classes, bead making, fish farming, acting, like directing, so many things that, exposed us to how the real world can be, or taught us about entrepreneurship, creativity, innovation. Those things are very important. And then TTG was also very important towards the Total Graduate, which is a program that we did in school towards graduation.
Total Man concept was a very powerful part of our lives. It was like you're in a theological school and learning a few things about yourself, the spirit, soul, and body.
I recently got married and I was, attending conferences, seminars, so many of all these conferences. I will be so excited going, and rightfully I'll really be excited. But then I come back home and I would tell my husband that I really enjoyed the session, right? But it just seemed like I had known these things, but I really couldn't place it, right? And then my husband is like, you know what, you went to Covenant University where you did TMC and all these things, they were already year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, you were hearing it, and then maybe at the time you did not appreciate it, but now seeing that that's what people are now learning, then you have the advantage.
So I'd say EDS particularly put some form in my head about what it meant to do business, what entrepreneurs contribute to the world. I remember then we read a lot of stories about successful people, and we read enough from just the fact that they did business and built profitable companies. Also, we read from the fact of what changes they made in the world. And I think those repetitions really also set the foundation for what type of company should a person be trying to build. I'll say the foundations for even the softcom that we had today was laid from the EDS class, really.
When I finished from CU, I joined my parents to run their business. And I ran a restaurant and, like a lounge for over 3 years before I moved to Canada. And one of the driving factors that gave me confidence to some of the EDS classes that I was, my mom currently runs a farm, and most of the things I learned, because I did the EDS that had to do with like farming and agriculture and things like that. So most of the packaging and things like that were some of the things I took from there.
TMC played a major role in more or less like my possibility mentality.
Most of our programs are branded. You can see peculiarity. And a number of the programs we do were initiated, self-initiated by the university. Talk about the Total Man concept, talk about the entrepreneurship programs.
Total Man concept is fundamentally to develop the body, soul, and the spirit of the students.
Now, these custom-built programs have distinguished the university from other universities you see around.
LUC had to come and borrow the curriculum of Covenant University to now begin to introduce the EDS, the entrepreneurial development studies across the university.
In the process, they are taught on the final note to be strong, to be courageous, to go and exhibit the things that they have learned.
I think one of the amazing things that Covenant University did for us was give us a platform to discover ourselves, to develop ourselves, and to deploy ourselves very early. In line with that vision of making kings of youth, we were being encouraged to find our domain, to find our own spot where we can occupy and we can exercise dominion and even lead, and serve. So it was very heavy on finding your mission, finding your assignment, and all of those things.
I started back in Covenant University. The community helped me build the brand. So everyone, my first set of customers were people who, went to Covenant University or had affiliation with Covenant University.
One of the things that CU did, which was sort of like genesis, was finding my purpose. How do you find someone studying civil engineering and ends up as a filmmaker? It's because something that I constantly preached was finding your passion, finding your purpose.
For instance, if I look at we have a number of eagles in entertainment. A number of them were made from that stage in the CU Chapel. That environment gave a lot of expression of gifts.
I was very musically driven at the time, and I just wanted to do anything music. So the first thing that I latched onto when I got there was the music, the choir. I was like, I have to be here, and I did everything to be there. In fact, the first variety night that we attended was the first Sunday. I think that was we had resumed on a Wednesday or so. I can't really remember, but the first Sunday was variety night. And that was the first time everybody came together. All the new students, came together. So there was no choir representing the new set. So there was no music. And then I can't remember who was in front that mentioned, if you would like to sing or you want to join the choirs, at least want to join the choir for this first part of the meetings, please come forward. And before he even finished, I jumped and I ran to wherever it is he wanted me to be.
Something I'm grateful to Covenant University for, actually, because the fact that I could perform at age 18 in front of the whole school, about 7,000 people at once. It's not a privilege that a lot of people have. I had an audience. I had a platform. I had people willing to listen or unwilling to listen, but forced to listen. And so we were there. I remember my very first performance in Covenant University. It was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing. I can never forget it.
He delivered to us the core values. People thought it won't work. Everybody knows it's copying it. It's more than working.
Covenant University will be given kudos in the sense that before the student came, a particular culture had been established, and that within that culture, we can say we have the core values.
If you look at the first one, which is spirituality, which is the anchor of everything here, because if you are spiritual, you cannot be irresponsible.
The spiritual core value was the highest for me. It helped me through the darkest times. Some days I just sit and worship and I feel better. And these are things that we did in CU. Like I knew God for myself in CU.
Everything is spiritual.
I was able to imbibe all the core values of Covenant University, but I think the one that I kind of just come back to every time is the possibility mentality. I feel like I can do anything. That's one thing that, Covenant University showed us that was possible. Like, I saw buildings being erected in a matter of months.
That possibility mentality thing, which also influenced my ability to build capacity.
Talking about raising a new generation of leaders, there's always that thing where you feel you have to make a difference and you have to influence the world around you, make Africa better.
I remember having a conversation with some of my friends I went to see you, and I said that even if you didn't want to hear the word of God or believe in yourself, there's no how you wouldn't, because it was bashed into your mind every single day.
Making us believe that anything you are doing, it's possible to create solutions. And those are things that I've applied in running my business, being part of other businesses, starting projects and all.
I saw a working system, and truly, I want to pass it on everywhere I go.
When we were here, Papa used to tell us that diligence will make greatness out of a dummy. I heard that word so if I can give my tax, whatever it takes, it means I can end up being great.
Excellence is important to me. Whatever it is I'm doing, excellence, diligence, I put my heart to it.
A lot of times when I'm devoting myself or my time, it's because I'm told that I don't live for myself. It's not about me. It's not about my life. It's about how much impact I have outside.
I mean, you can't be in Covenant University and you heard him talk about Dominion Publishing House, talk about Hebron Water, talk about Microfinance Bank.
All this, one man's vision, that's not possible. And then I saw over and over how that was possible.
CU was very, very instrumental in shaping just my worldview.
You see a sense of responsibility, both in faculty and staff, a sense of commitment, dedication.
I used to cherish those chapel meetings. Even though a few times they will come at very uncomfortable times. Maybe you are trying to finish off one assignment and you're just told that, you have to go to chapel. But in hindsight, I realized that we had to hear the things we heard at the times we heard them.
One thing I learned from Covenant University is to be self-sufficient, in the sense that no matter how young you are, you can make an impact. Carry yourself with pride, and whatever you do, put your mind into it.
I come from a place where I got a lot of no's, talking about my background, and you weren't allowed to do this, you weren't allowed to do this. And in a way, it restricted me mentally from, doing a lot of things. When I got into Covenant University, I struggled a bit, but towards the end of my program, I saw that I could do anything if I set my mind to it.
Beyond the students, beyond Papa, the class of lecturers that we had, I'm sure that that the school still has, excellent. Excellent. And again, it flows from the top.
The impact is on faculty and staff. Awesome, God. So we return all the glory.
I'm sharing my heart with you. I'm not trying to blow a trumpet, so that you can catch a dream within this. And tell yourself, I will not waste my life. I'll be a blessing. And the more a blessing you are, the more blessed you become.
The Chancellor, Dr. David Oyedepo, has done a very fantastic work in building a system and an environment that is transgenerational. It's a hybrid environment, absolutely fluid.
Covenant University was not about what we were taught. It was about what we could catch, what we caught, because of the environment that was created and the space that was created for us to catch things. And I think one powerful way was the Chancellor. The Chancellor was a perfect model of a visionary, of a disciplined person, a very diligent, mission-minded, fully sold out to his call and his assignment.
My first impression was of Bishop Oyedepo was, he's a hard man. He's no nonsense street. Because I know then, when we first came in, when you see his car driving slowly, everybody pew run at different angles. But over the years, after, I've had a couple of encounters with him, and I realized that it was actually it's like a sweet daddy, you just greet him. So how are you? How is you doing? What course are you in? I was asking questions, was actually interacting, and I'm thinking so all the stories that people are saying about this man is actually not true.
I didn't know about him, but I knew it was a Christian school. But I didn't know about the person until the first meeting. And even though I had a Muslim background, I just thought he was some strong guy. Looking at him not from a spirituality perspective, but I just thought he was determined. He was a motivational guy.
So I remember then when he comes to your variety night or a service, and he's talking about maybe these stories about something that we've done, it's a student body, and he's very angry. He said, I did not see this. This is not what I saw. And everyone's just like, oh my God. And he said, stand up and ask for grace. Everybody raised their hands. It was it was just amazing to watch. Some people at the time, we were like, let's just relax. But in retrospect, you're looking and we were opportune to just watch a man literally live out God's purpose for his life.
He's not just a spiritual man. So you see a lot of bishops, pastors that are spiritual. He's a very determined person. He's a leader. So in school, then you see him driving at 2 a.m. And you ask yourself, how old am I? Why am I sleeping?
I can tell you for free, some days I'll be going to pee and I'll see Papa driving 3 a.m. This man know they sleep. No, I don't sleep. Me, I don't sleep like that. I don't know if it's a good thing to pick up.
His work ethic inspires me. His doggedness inspires me. His focus inspires me. His wisdom inspires me. His courage inspires me.
I would say my favorite thing about the Chancellor from things I've observed over the years is his unapologetic boldness.
He's just a very principled man.
Papa used to break records with ease. I was in school then when we had I got the award for the largest church in the world. It was so groundbreaking. And Papa used to do it like it was literally nothing to him.
He spent a lot of time with us.
He was a present father.
He was there consistently.
You know, Papa is a very deliberate person. In other words, he's not an anyhow person, right? If he's doing something, he's doing it because God has told him to do it, right? And if he's doing anything, he's doing it well. Look at Kenaland. Look at Covenant University.
The only thing I know so closely with him is that he's very, very humorous.
In my 200 level, when the swimming pool, I don't know if the swimming pool is still open now, but it was open then in my 200 level, and then that was where I learned how to swim. And I went there one day. Typically, you go into the shower, you know, have your shower, then you go into the pool. So I was to go into the shower, and we were told not to go into the shower. You know, I was like why? You know, feeling proud. I don't understand. I paid for this. Why won't I go into the shower? So I opened the shower door, and I saw Papa playing table tennis, and it was a bit strange because one, he was playing playfully. This one on stage, that's to cast out devils. Now he's playing table tennis. Then the next thing was, while he was playing, he was cracking a joke that the opponent wanted to use incantation for him to serve. I'm like, what is going on? He's weird. I just stood and I froze there. Yeah, and then when next time they told me not to open the door, I'm like, yeah, I'll listen. This was in my final year, 5th year of Covenant University, and I was shooting at the back of chapel with some people. And as I was shooting, I was facing the model I was shooting. And I noticed that the person I was shooting and the other people that I was in, they were kind of moving away and running away. Papa. I'm like, what's going on? I turned and I saw that the bishop had just driven to park at that place that the chancellor parks, yeah. So I was, at first, because they were running, I wanted to run. But I was like, you know what, why am I not doing anything wrong? So instead of running, I now started walking towards him. And he was like, he started like beckoning for us to come. And then I went to meet him. And when people saw that, you know, there was somebody bold enough to do it, I guess they now also started running towards him. And then he prayed for us, was laughing with us, asking what we were doing. And, you know, it was a very cool experience. I gave somebody my camera. I took a picture of everybody. He said my camera, take a picture of me and him together. If you see the picture, very blurry.
You know, once the public address system in the hostel, just said, attention please. You are all expected to be at the chapel. The chancellor is waiting for you.
So he was driving around the campus and praying, and he saw a fan in one of the hostels on. You know, from outside you can see it's on and there's nobody in it. And he went there and said, turn this fan off, you know, save the power. You know, so as a student leader, that was a powerful image of leadership for me.
The first time I had a personal encounter with him I was the hall rep of the male hostel. And he was doing his normal nighttime drive-by. I think it was about 2 a.m. or so. I was asleep. But boys were just making noise in the hostel, playing music, you know, their windows were open to the road. So he angrily just drove and came in and like, who is the hall rep here? Who's the hall rep here? So somebody just slapped me on the bed. Papa is looking for you. So with I thought it was a dream. I literally sleepwalked down from the last floor to the ground floor. And then look at Papa, I was dazed.
So one of the nights, we had a vigil. In my set or so, we had a vigil for ladies. So when we were passing, we saw Bishop's car and all of that. And my friend was like, hey, Bishop. So we went to meet him. I was like, oh, what are you ladies doing there? I still remember that conversation because they said, what are you guys doing? They said we went to pray for our husbands. I remember very well because pretty much what we did during that video was praying for our family, our husbands, our kids, and all of that. So it was like, wow, that's good. That this is what he wants to really achieve with CU. That night I saw his heart. I saw a man, I no longer saw the rules and the regulations. I saw a man with a heart to raise a generation of people that will love God,
love, and with that love from God, impact society.
I have always liked to put it very straight that the chancellor is a school.
A couple of his quotes he used to share with us then, I still have them in my head.
Like 20 children don't play for 20 years.
You don't grow big to manage well. You manage well to grow big.
But in this ministry, we all know man living or dead. If you live your life casually, you end up as a casualty.
Listen now, listen carefully.
You're getting old. You're getting old.
You know where you're coming from and who you are. If you misbehave, you're under covenant. God is watching you.
Think and walk with your black hair so you will not stink and beg with your gray hair. Think and walk.
No matter how fast or far you run in the wrong direction, you will never get you to the right destination.
So caution, caution, caution. Covenant University is a no-nonsense ground. Lift up your hands right now and receive grace to grow.
Just as the morning shows the day, so the child shows the man. Now here it is. The letter kill it. 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 But the spirit give it life. See, here it is. This is very vital. This is very crucial. They that walk with many. They that run with a few. But they that fly alone. How many high flyers do we have here today? Lift up your hands and give him thanks.
I mean, the Chancellor is an amazing man. I call him a legend. It was his birthday recently, and I was thinking about, just how impactful the man has been in truly raising a new generation of leaders for Africa and the world, which is the vision of, Covenant University.
You're a student for 4 years, but you're an alumni for life.
So as the president of the Covenant University Alumni Association, or CUALA as we fondly call it, my big vision is really how to unlock the value that is in the community. I believe very strongly that we have enormous value. Think about every sphere of life in Nigeria or even globally. There's an eagle playing there, and not playing at an entry level. There are eagles that are leading and pioneering things everywhere, in ministry, in careers, in financial services, in entrepreneurship, in tech, in entertainment, in the creative sector, in fashion, in food. Like, I can go on and on and on.
It's a strong network, and I've been privileged to enjoy that network. CUALA sponsored Fast Sheda.
The competition project thing, that I will never forget for the rest of my life. A lot of people from Covenant voted for me. I had great friends, people like Slasher. So many people who went to school, went back to school. They are graduated, but went back to school to solicit for votes. A lot of them went even from door to door in hostels to say, yo, you need to vote for Ayo, his voting number is this. I didn't even know any of these things happened until after I left.
The older graduates are looking for ways to give. They're thinking significance, they're thinking legacy, they're thinking succession. The younger graduates are thinking, how do I, start my career, start my business, start my ministry, my social enterprise, whatever. And so there are people that want to give and there are people that want to take. And providing that platform is the reason why I do everything. It's the reason why we have the mentoring program. It's the reason why we have the financial education program. It's the reason why we have the, CV clinic, the job boot camp. It's the reason why we have all our welfare programs. It's the reason why we do lives every time where, thought leaders across different things come and share their knowledge, right, with the broader community. It's the reason why we do every single thing.
Honestly, I think it's a very inspiring network. Like when you're surrounded by friends that are doing exceptional things, there's a certain kind of motivation that you get, to want to excel in what you do as well.
You can tell there is this strong bond, when it comes to the typical Covenant University alumni with a fellow alumni. We have a way of supporting ourselves, and in fact, I don't even want to go into details. A lot of support that takes place in between. In fact, I still consider the Covenant University alumni the strongest alumni network in Nigeria. I don't know about Africa, but by extension, possibly Africa.
Until a platform is provided, until a bridge is built, value can't be exchanged.
We're only 20 years here, the impact of this institution by the hand of God is felt in every sector of the economy. It's felt everywhere.
The delivery we see today is not a surprise to us. No, not at all. It has been there before it was being conceived.
I am not surprised at where Covenant University is now. Like the Chancellor used to say, I would have been surprised if we were not here.
Right from the beginning, we knew that Covenant University, even from inception, we knew that it will set the pace. We knew that it will set the pace and landmark achievements will be recorded through Covenant Universities and even the students wherever.
Today, by the grace of God, Covenant University is among the top 500 universities in the world.
The more you try to imagine the next phase, the more you see your imagination has been beaten. So this is an institution that is globally acclaimed and the vision is thriving.
So far, God has been exceptional and we have soared heights unknown. We've broken records. And I know that in the next 20 years, we're going to do so much more.
So looking at Covenant in the next 20 years, wow, I see Covenant running a multi-campus system, delivering the same level of quality education. And I also see Covenant also in America, in Canada, in Asia, spreading the vision, the mission, and our departure philosophy right there within the continents of the world.
The covenant has no provision at the back, but always in the front. It has no place on the floor, but at the top. So in the next several years, we are going to be seeing Covenant University going from glory to glory, leaping from height to height, and going to where any university has ever reached as a peak and even surpass it.
My prayer is that this 20th anniversary will be a landmark experience for every one of us who are stakeholders, from proprietors base all across. Our faculty and staff, the number of pioneer staffs are still here, serving God with joy and with testimonies. And then all of our students, the alumni particularly, that the Lord will keep you in all your ways and you will make a choice to make Him be the center of your life. In the name of Jesus. Be blessed. Jesus is here.